This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important update to share with you. We'll go over this article. Stimulus update. Could this surprising new cost justify more stimulus money? And with the debt ceiling reached today, if it is not extended, Americans are going to have economic chaos according to what they are saying. And also play a video clip of what's being going on there. And I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a terrific Thursday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. And I'm picking the winners for those $200 checks later on in the video. But first, stimulus update. Could this surprising new cost justify more stimulus money? So the price of a staple has gone up dramatically, and the government has proposed legislation before to help people afford the essentials. Is it possible more stimulus money will be on the way? So this huge price increase is hitting household budgets. The latest price increase Americans are coping with is on an item nearly everyone has to buy regularly, which is eggs. So price of eggs have gone up since December 2022. Average price of eggs is $4.25 a gallon. Not a gallon, a dozen. And this is double what the cost was a year ago. So prices of eggs are going up, mainly for the main reason here, death of close to 58 million chickens and turkeys as a result of an avian influenza epidemic that was first identified back in 2020. So with less chickens, which means less eggs, which means the price of those eggs are going to go up. Now, excuse me. Normally, this wouldn't really matter much if a certain food item goes up, but because food is in a lot of different things, it's in, eggs are in a lot of baked goods, a lot of other ingredients, not just eggs by itself, which means that the cost of food in general could go up even higher due to the shortage of eggs, and since eggs is in a lot of food ingredients. Now, the big question here is, could this justify more stimulus money? I'm going to save you some time. I don't think so. That's what this article is saying too, is unlikely that there could be stimulus checks due to the price of eggs going up, but this maybe could extend more SNAP benefit programs extensions or boosts, and more boosts in other programs that are currently existing and give more help in terms of food aid. But in terms of an inflation relief check or stimulus check because of the bump in egg prices doesn't seem likely. Just wanted to keep it real with you there. And then the U.S. is set to hit debt ceiling, prompting Treasury to take extraordinary measures. So we've heard a lot of threats of things going on with the debt ceiling being reached. We could have economic chaos, which is what we're hearing, and we could soon be facing the biggest financial crisis in history as Republicans threaten to stop paying America's bills. So it is different this time around. Republicans are using the debt ceiling as leverage to achieve spending cuts on Democratic priorities, but failing to raise the debt ceiling by the summer could cause the U.S. to default on its debt, and consequences of default are dire, and Biden has urged the GOP to not bargain with the debt limit. So when it comes to the debt limit, this is probably worse than last year, because last year at least the Democrats were in control of the House, so they had more leverage. Now the Republicans are in control of the House, which means that the Democrats and Republicans are basically in a stalemate. This could go on a while, and we could actually see some big economic consequences due to this. Take a look from the Democrat perspective here.
The U.S. credit rating, Standard & Poor's, a key agency that advises investors on long-term securities, lowered America's credit rating from AAA to AA+.
It has never happened before. It's all about how the country will pay for its debt, and S&P pointed the finger at Washington.
So in its report, the agency noted the, quote, difficulties in bridging the gulf between the political parties. It also added that it's become pessimistic about Congress and the Obama administration's ability to stabilize the nation's debt problem.
In 2011, the United States had its credit rating downgraded for the first time ever, all because Tea Party Republicans threatened to not raise the debt ceiling under President Obama. The parties came to an agreement just before we hit our credit limit, but the damage was done. Now, in case you need a refresher on the debt ceiling, it's the level of debt that Congress authorizes the federal government to take on. Once we reach the point where we can no longer pay our bills, Congress has to lift that ceiling. It's meant to be routine government business. Since 1960, Congress has acted 78 separate times to permanently raise, temporarily extend, or revise the terms of the debt limit. 49 times under Republican presidents and 29 times under Democrats. But in the modern era, it's become increasingly politicized. George W. Bush was able to raise the debt ceiling 7 times. But he was met with Democratic opposition when they were in the minority, and many opposed his seemingly unlimited war and Pentagon spending. A majority of Republicans voted for those increases, so the risk of a default was never a big threat, even when Democrats regained the majority. Those votes against were mostly a message to Democratic voters, a statement of values. It's Republicans who took us to the brink of actual default in 2011, once they gained the House and Obama was in the White House. Quite frankly, that was about messaging too, a statement of their values, Tea Party values, a sudden zeal to shrink the government and drown it in a bathtub for some reason. Meanwhile, their favorite president, Donald Trump, was able to raise the debt ceiling twice. He had Democratic support, which allowed those on the far right to vote against the bill, once again, without the specter of a looming default. In fact, the national debt rose by nearly $7.8 trillion with a T dollars during Trump's time in office due to his tax cuts for the super rich. You are still paying that bill. You're welcome. But now that a Democrat is president again, spending is back to being forbidden. Republicans, including their leadership, are threatening to not allow President Biden to raise the debt ceiling without major spending cuts to programs like Social Security and Medicare, because to hell with the sick and the old people, am I right? Yeah, the White House is they're not gonna allow that.
I think it is critical that we change the way we're doing business, and I intend to use the debt ceiling to ensure that we get fiscal and structural reforms.
We cannot continue to operate with these types of deficits. Our national debt is one of our biggest threats to our national security.
We have to refuse to raise the debt ceiling. We have to get spending back under control, and we have to do that by any means possible. And if that means the government shutdown, then I'll be calling for a government shutdown, because this government shut our country down with those COVID shutdowns.
Oh, my God. Tomorrow, the government will have to resort to extraordinary measures to continue paying its bills. But time's up in June, when Congress will need to act. If they don't, we go into default, which could lead to a whole world of hurt, including a possible stock market crash or a recession, higher interest rates, a weaker dollar, another credit downgrade, and a 4% decline in GDP. Oh, and up to 6 million job losses. Yay, MAGA. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California and Robert Reich, Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration and Professor of Public Policy at UC Berkeley. I want to thank both of you for being here. And I do want to start with you, Congressman, because, you know, the non-routineness of raising the debt limit is a purely political thing, you know, and I can recall Democrats who opposed seemingly unlimited Pentagon and Iraq war spending making a statement by opposing the increase of the debt limit. I think when he was a senator, Senator Obama did that. But they did that knowing that they were not the votes that were going to cause the debt limit to be overreached. So it was a statement. It was not an attack on our economy. This is different because you hear these Republicans saying we've got to get our spending back under control, but they didn't have a problem with racking up $7.8 trillion under Trump. Your thoughts?
Joy, you're absolutely right. They did it as a statement to remind the American people that President Clinton, under whose administration Secretary Reich served, left this country with budget surpluses. Then what happened? President Bush went into Iraq. President Bush had these massive tax cuts for the wealthy. President Bush caused a financial crisis that led to spending to recover from that. And Trump gave a massive tax cut. So to have the Republicans who have caused this debt lecture us about the debt is the height of hypocrisy. And all we're saying is pay the past bills because you've racked them up. We're not going to default on the debt you've incurred. And let's debate future spending.
Yeah, I mean, our wonderful colleague Stephanie Rule has basically likened it to a credit card. You know, you run up the credit card bill, and then at the end of the month, you're like, I am not paying that. I refuse to pay those bills. No, that's not how it works. And Robert Reich, that's the point that I think bugs me the most. The first time I'm not going to age myself, but I was in high school when Ronald Reagan was president, and the huge deficits he ran up were because of the thing Republicans love to do. Lots of tax cuts for the super rich. Clinton cleans that up. Then they come back and do more tax cuts for the super rich, and more huge defense spending. They keep cutting the super rich's taxes and then saying, we've got to get the budget under control. Your thoughts?
Well, that's happened again and again and again, Joy. You're absolutely right. And I remember in the Clinton administration, it was almost as if we had a giant pooper scooper, and we had to go around and clean up the mess created by Reagan and the first Bush administration. And then we cleaned it up. And what happened? The next Bush administration created an even bigger mess. And as you pointed out, Donald Trump spent $7.8 trillion, increased the national debt by $7.8 trillion, and raised the debt ceiling. I mean, there was no problem raising debt ceiling when Republicans have the power and Republicans are in the White House. Yes, the Republicans will raise the debt ceiling. But suddenly, the deficit becomes a big deal when Democrats have the White House, and the deficit not only becomes a big deal, but there are threats to not raise the debt ceiling and thereby hold hostage the full faith and credit of the United States, stiffing essentially all our creditors.
So what are your thoughts there? Are we in big trouble? Are we going to have economic chaos due to what's going on with the debt ceiling? Let me know your thoughts on that. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, how are you doing? I want to give you 3 things of the tip of the day. So first off, be happy, be grateful, and be humble. And then I want to do one more thing to you. Do the things that you want to do in a lifetime. Guys, you guys can do whatever you want, at least if you want to do it. Because I'm here for you, you guys like us, and my dad wants to say hi, so we're gonna move on. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Thanks for hanging out with me for the past few years. I'm going to pick the winners for those $200 checks as a show of my appreciation to you and being a part of the Wise Flies community. So let's get back to my back end of my YouTube studio. So I'm going to pick the winners at random here. And let's go to pick a winner. And yeah, the word was hopeful just because I wanted to, since we started a new year, I wanted to see what everyone is hopeful for, try to focus our attention on things that are more positive compared to things that are negative. So let's pick the first winner here. First winner is William Wilson. I am hopeful the economy will get better. I'm hopeful too. I love this picture, by the way. It's really funny. Congrats on winning, William, and I have details down in the description below of how to contact me if you want. I will have to verify a few things, but congrats on winning, William. And the next winner is SB, hopeful. I am hopeful that we can live happy, successfully, and peaceful lives very soon. I hope so too. Congrats on winning, SB. And the next winner is April Osti, hopeful. I'm hopeful for another year and that I have a job and healthy children and grandchildren. Yes, family and health are so important. Congrats on winning, April. And that concludes all the winners. Congrats to all the winners. Don't forget to contact me. Details down in the description below. And thanks again for everyone, for all of your support. Really means a lot to me. Just for you hanging out with me. All the other YouTube stuff is cool too. The liking, subscribing, commenting. But just for you to spend time with me, I really appreciate that. Really means a lot to me. So thanks again for that. And that's all. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. If you want to check out any of my other videos, click right up here. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Be safe. Thank you for watching.